Okay, I promised somebody a video just to explain 12 bar blues. This is rock and roll 12 bar blues, pentatonic stuff. Country uses pentatonic also, but they use a relative major, whatever. This is basically minor key stuff. So it's in a, but refer to the major scale. Okay, so let's just pick A, 5th fret, low E string. Here's your A. Real quick, these are tuned in fourths. So those are fourths from each other. If you go the other way, they're fifths from each other. In other words, the G to the D is a fifth, and the A to the E is a fifth. But if you start at the E and go to the A, that's a fourth, or the D to the G, that's a fourth. Okay. So this was for a bass player, so that's why I'm sticking to the fruit last one. So we're on the 1. 5th fret, bottom string. This is just a power chord, 1-5. I don't know if you can see that or not. Anyway, power chord. I don't have recording equipment, so it's E string, 5th fret, A string, 7th fret. So there's your 1-5. So 1-4-5 would be. Now, how do we determine that? Here's your scale. So let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's your fourth, which is parallel, just like the open string. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your 5. Now, if you were to invert the blues, let's say you're playing E blues and you start on the 7th fret up here, then you'd go down to the lower string, 5th fret. So if you know the inverted position, like let's say you're playing B, blues in B. Okay, the inverted position would be the E. Then the parallel, which is the 5th, because you're going down, you know, your notes are going down. So let's go over again. Let's review it. For the bass players out there, when you go E, A, D, G, that's going up the notes. Those are fourths to each other. If you're coming back down, G, D, A, E, they become fifths to each other. What's a fourth and a fifth? Well, you start on your scale. It's any scale, doesn't matter. A major. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then octave 8, which is the box. You know, 2 frets up, 2 strings over. So they're parallel to each other. Same position, just now you're playing the power chord on the A string. So you're playing the A and the relative fifth to that, which is the 1 of the scale. But the fifth to the key, the chord that would be assigned to that. See, every note has a chord, a triad assigned to it. So you got 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. Some of them are major, some of them are minor, because you have to stay in scale. The note, you're using only the notes in the scale, so it's major, major, minor, diminished, something like that. Anyway, so if you're playing the fourth triad is, so that's the 1-5 power chord. So don't get confused between first, second, thirds, fourths, and fifths of the scale and the numbers of the triads. They're the same notes in the scale, but they get assigned different numbers because they mean different things. So if you've got the 2 on the A major scale, which is this 1, 3, 5, that's the triad 1, 3, 5, because you're playing a B scale. So you got now, you notice it sounds a little different. That's because that's a minor chord. If it was a major chord, it would be, whoops. That's a flat major, but if you're in A, you want an A minor, and then now the last one, the 7th, is a diminished because you have to flat the 3rd and the 5th in order to stay in the scale. So there's always the 7th is a diminished chord. Anyway, back to the simple part. We'll get into that in more detail later. So I want you to understand that sometimes when I'm referring to the 1, 3, and the 5, I may not be referring to the actual scale. I might be referring to the triad chord. So that's why I bring that up, because of the power chord 1, 5 for A. That's a power chord, which is also a 1 and a 5, up the 5th of the triad, not the 5th of the scale. The 5th of the scale is which the 5th of the triad is actually the 1 in the scale. So I want, when you're playing blues, a lot of people play the pentatonics. But if you want to play major runs, you play 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. Those are your triads, which still follows the 1, 4, 5 pattern of 1, 4, 5. And you're going to hear that in like 99% of rock and roll songs use a 12-bar blues progression. It's absolutely amazing how many different ways you can phrase it and arrange it to make it sound like something cool and different and new. It's all 12-bar. All of rock and roll pretty much is 12-bar. They get away from it a little bit sometimes, but it sneaks its way in. There are a lot of songs where if you listen really carefully, yeah, that's just 12-bar. So anyway, real quick again. 1, 4, which is just a jump up, same position, and then. Now you were asking about E. Somebody was. Open E. Classic, blues lick. And then that's the 5th fret, or just go up to the E. Open. Now what did I do there? I went to the 2nd fret of the A, which is the 4th, playing an open power chord. Then I'm going back down to the open and the second fret on the next string. And the same thing, open, second fret on the next string. Then, and then that's the B, and the fifth of the B chord. 1, 3, 5, which is a G flat, or you can call it an F sharp. Get used to calling it by its flats if you're playing blues, because it's a theory of the way the music's written determines if it's flat or if it's sharp. My mind skips me right now of the exact details of it. I only know what I know at the top of my head. I'm not a super expert. But anyway, there's a reason why they call it a sharp key rather than a flat key. A lot of people just call it sharp all the time. Get used to referring to it as a flat key. So this is a G flat. Because it's depending on what key it is. If it's in a different key, it might be referred to as an F sharp, because that's the note you need to sharp in order to stay in the major scale. If you're playing in a different key, it's G flat, because that's the note you have to flat to stay in that major scale. I hope that made sense. I think it made sense to me. Okay, so open again, one string up for the A, and then back. So let's just play 12, and the reason they call it 12 bars is because it counts up 12 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then it starts over. And not all blues, 1-4-5 blues is 12 bar. But that's the most common. So you got, count it with me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. If you were counting the bars, the measures, you should have come up with 12. If you didn't, then I screwed up. Anyway, that's the simple explanation. And then the inverted position is and then down. Because when you're going down, they're relative fifths. You want to play the fourth, so you got to go down a whole step. I hope that made sense. Hope that helped. Bye.